Hello and welcome to the VideoGamer UK podcast. My name is Matt Lees and I'm joined by Matt Nellis.
Hello.
Steve Burns.
Yes.
And Tom Orry.
Hello.
And this is the last podcast that you'll be on.
It is my last podcast for Video Gamer.
Until the inevitable Gamescom special where we will rustle you into a brown paper bag and drag you into a hotel room.
That didn't sound...
And then we'll make a podcast.
Standard Gamescom.
Standard Gamescom, yeah. You know, go there, kidnap someone, don't tell anyone about it.
So I'm flying out on Saturday morning and it's... This week it dawned on me that I hadn't sorted anything out.
Yeah, you've been walking around the office just going, hey, do you want a bookshelf? Does anyone want a chair? It's like
I've been trying to flog my stuff to everyone in the office and no one wants a bookshelf or a desk.
Mixed success.
Or a chair. So if anyone listening out there lives locally
and wants a chair, then...
What kind of chair is it?
It's a nice big...
It's like one of those air-on ones.
No, it's a tall back office chair. What?
Is it wing-backed?
What's wing-back?
It's like huge kind of wings.
Doesn't have wings.
What's
a chair? It's like a...
No wonder no one wants it now. No, it sounds rubbish.
It's like an executive office chair. It's like cream leather.
Cream?
Yeah.
What if you spill something on? No,
don't spill.
I'm not interested in the cream chair. But I mean, it's not an official podcast competition, but if you do live in the Croydon area, you have approximately 6 hours after this podcast goes out to register your interest.
Yeah, local pickup only.
Yeah, so that's a hell of a competition prize there, a cream local pickup chair. And welcome again to the Craigslist podcast. So what have you been playing then, guys?
Oh, it's all about BioShock Infinite.
It is all about BioShock Infinite, sort of. I'll start off because I've not played it for long. I've played it for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So far, I'm pretty blown away by it, just because it's the prettiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
You're playing on PC?
Yeah, I'm playing on my newish PC.
Yeah.
And it's the sort of game that I get this with most PC games now, where I sit down to play it and I feel like before I press start, I don't want to just play the game. I kind of want to go around my house and round up everybody nearby to say, show them. Come and look at this because it's pretty. But I didn't do that and I just played it. It's really, I mean, aesthetically, the introduction to the game is just amazing.
It's one thing they always do well. Like, do you remember the reveal of Rapture in the original BioShock? Amazeballs. They do a similar, very good job here, I think, with revealing Columbia.
I think I almost prefer it. Just because it's the kind of the different sections that you get one after the other are just like, what's going on? But the lighthouse section at the beginning is just wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Excellent. Really, really had me scared. I was wearing headphones and it was making me jump. I'd liked it a lot.
It's a nice opening. And me and Steve were talking about the game in general. We'll keep the spoiler free, by the way, for anyone who might be worried. I finished it last night. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I was also frustrated by it.
I've heard this from a lot of people, and I'm still in the stage of enjoying it. I do have a couple of things that I'm not super keen on. Even though the world itself seems to have a tremendous amount of detail, like every room we go into, I just find myself soaking up the details because it's so lovely. Yeah, it is like, and it's not just kind of like graphics. I think it is quite telling.
The art style,
and the art direction is so strong. Yeah. However, like it doesn't feel like there's some things about it that feel a bit old school that don't kind of make sense. Like I find it odd that when you walk into buildings with people and they'll just say something at you and then that's the end of the interaction, and you just stand there thinking, well, why can't I have a conversation with you?
It feels like a set to me.
Yeah, that's it.
Like
it feels
a wonderful set.
You're walking through a movie set,
like one of those old-timey kind of old Hollywood musicals, the ones that cost like $60 million even then. And when at the very start of the game, when the floating barges go past to say about Comstock and the Lamb, that's it. And then when you go into the Hall of Heroes, again, that is actually a set. Yeah. But you think the whole game is a bit like this. But I think you're absolutely right. In the direction is first class. Yeah. The art direction, and one of the things that I think video games, like criticism or talking about video games in general, needs to get past is, beautiful being aligned only with technologically impressive. Yeah. I mean, art direct. I can't wait for the day when the arms race is over. I said it before. Yeah. And people start like directing.
It feels like we're pretty much there, to be honest.
Yeah. And it's just so good. So very Disney in a way, which kind of goes against all the outrageous violence.
Something we'll talk about in a little bit because it's kind of the big news item for this week, Battlefield 4. But I mean that suffers from kind of Crisis 3 syndrome either. Something I decided to coin earlier is the uncanny be bothered valley. Which is just kind of this weird sensation when games get to look a certain fidelity, a certain sense of like sharpness, that somehow your brain reacts with apathy, and I don't know why that is. It's almost like it maybe it's the sort of thing I wouldn't be surprised if they actually do some research into this sort of thing in a couple of years and discover that it may well be that it's like a sensory overload. Yeah. It's almost like there's so much there in terms of the detail and the tiny textures and stuff that your brain almost can't take it in.
Yeah. And
what I do love about the art style in Infinite is it's just broad strokes, wonderful use of colour and light, but then when you get close to stuff, you get this immense detail that you can focus on. But it doesn't do both at the same time, and I've got a lot of time for that. Even the simple stuff like outside lighthouse at the start, I realised there was rain running down the side of the building, and it's just like, that is amazing. Like,
wet.
It looks so
it's like
good.
Doom 3. Everything was wet there. Remember Doom 3? Everything was wet.
Splinter Cell Chaos Theory as well.
Everything was shiny.
But it's a fantastic looking game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's too much shooting though, isn't there?
Yeah.
Too TMS.
I think the very first thing I said to you this morning was, I really like BioShock Infinite, but all the shooting got in the way.
This sounds strange to say because it is a shooting game, but I don't know. It's horrible arena-based shooting. It's classic video game nonsense. Like, Booker is like this crazy, like unstoppable, supernatural killing machine. Yeah. But he can't open locked doors. And you just think that's fucking bollocks. Yeah. And that happens start with the comet, and it just doesn't. There's no escalation to it. You're like, another arena where I have to wait until everyone's dead, so that Elizabeth
can unlock
can
a door.
open a door.
Yeah.
And you just think, that's
it's
rubbish.
Kind of dumb.
And you just want, and what Matt was saying about the world, you want to get back into that world, and it feels like Final Fantasy. You trudge along and you're like, oh, here's something interrupting the actual game the world I want to be in. So you shoot a few people in the head and you go, okay.
And then I can get back to my audio log.
Oh no, there's a lot.
That's it. It's like you pick up an audio log and it's like, oh, this is super interesting. Oh, hang on a sec, there's some guy shooting at me. Let me just deal with these. I'm going to re-listen to that audio log now because those guys just interrupted me.
Would you play it on easy then, or was that not a good idea?
I think that it's not necessarily the challenge; it's the volume.
Yeah.
So it just keeps on happening. You're like, well,
I mean, I found I'm enjoying it, but I got to the 2 hour mark and I kind of had to choose a moment myself to go, all right, stop now. Because it's kind of cool, because it feels like, well, for the first couple of hours anyway, it feels like I'm in this tsunami of stuff, and it feels like it doesn't stop, but in a kind of way that's quite cool, because it's just like you're constantly running, hiding, running, and you feel like you are just jumping from building to building in the city, in the sky, and that's kind of incredible in a way. But also it means that the pacing keeps itself going, but at the same time you don't really feel that moment of going, whew, like I did in BioShock. Can't remember the moments, but maybe after you've gone through a new bathysphere to a new area in BioShock, you kind of have that thing of going, oh, this area looks cool. This is a good time to stop.
Just take a break.
Yeah, this is a good time to pause and stop. Whereas it feels like this, because there are like load locations like that, but it's very...
You do still get, or I certainly got like a similar feeling to that. You'd enter not a brand new area, because all the areas kind of look the same.
Yeah, they look very similar.
But you enter... the monument bit or the Hall of Heroes section, and it'd be like, okay, this is a new area. I'm gonna just take a break now. Except I never took a break.
Spoiling too much. I mean, BioShock was lots of it was about like the characters and stuff, people you met and stuff.
Yeah,
the NPCs.
Yeah.
Is that all in this? Like, do you get these characters that you remember?
Not really. Not for me, anyway.
Yeah.
Comstock is your, like, for example... I actually won't say that. It's pretty spoilerific, but there's no kind of antagonist that drags you, that's always on your tail or is dragging you through, and it feels, and this is probably a deliberate choice, it feels more like the relationship between Booker and Elizabeth and your crimes and misdemeanors playing out rather than other people's. So that's pretty, as vague as I can be.
It seems like, I mean, just the general kind of broad strokes thing with this game that's fascinating me is when I was playing it the other day, I was just going, wow, this is something else. And it's not perfect, but as a kind of experience, it's pretty insane. But also, I realised that this might sound a bit wanky, but it feels like the product itself is almost like a mirror image of the setting. This kind of like this flying city, this kind of aloof, aloft thing, such great hopes, but also just fundamentally doomed to be compromised. And it seems like it's weird. It's like a one-off. Like the floating city Columbia is this one-off expense. And it feels like now, looking at this game, sure, like we're going to get next-gen games that are going to be high def as hell and 4K and pretty. But this, smells of money like nothing I've ever seen before, and the amount of money they've invested into it is obscene. But also, I think it may well be the kind of end of an era. You know, the kind of what we had in the 1990s. You know, with Baldur's Gate 2 and Planescape Torment. This may be the last of its ilk for a while, just because clearly they've made concessions to the gameplay to make sure that they can get the audience they need to recoup the money, and that means she's got her tits out, and that means that you've got loads of combat. Yeah, it's a shooter.
It's
loads
weird.
of bad combat, though. That's the problem.
Well, I don't know. Like, it hasn't actually it hasn't changed that much since BioShock. In terms of the core combat, it's a gun and a
But at the same
power.
time, I didn't much like the combat.
Exactly. So if you didn't like...
In the comments of my review, it's like, well, you know, in BioShock it wasn't that good as well. It's like, no mention has been, you know, it doesn't have to be a direct comparison.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I said it's like one of the most compelling games, or could well be one of the most compelling games of the generation. And when you look back at this generation, you will always, in any discussion of it, talk about BioShock Infinite, which is an amazing feat for Irrational. I just couldn't get on board with the over the top kind of what I saw as over the top 10 because I don't know. I went back through some of the reviews of the original BioShock, 10, and you're like, but the last third of the game was wank. It was total wank. And I just think that world is so powerful that it grabs you, and that's all you can think about. And I think because I played it quite a lot, and I went back and played it again, I was like, actually, I just can't get past for a 10, just how repetitive the combat is. Now, if you're in love with that world, then that's absolutely fine, because I think it's, you know, a great achievement. But at the same time, I can't get over the combat.
When 80% of the game is combat, and then it says something about the 20% of the world and the story, just how strong that is. That for a lot of people, that just, you know, brushes over all this mediocre combat, or which I thought was mediocre at least. Having said that, when and you said this in your review, when the combat works, when you're flying across sky rails and jumping down on guys, getting back on the sky rail, bringing up, like, Elizabeth can do the tear thing, which is so-so.
It's a bit gimmicky. They could have done more of that.
Yeah, but like when she can tear and bring through like environmental stuff, that like she can do one that's an oil spill.
Yeah, and you can shoot.
And you can shoot that set on fire. And if you can combine all that, and it only happened like a couple of times for me, when that all combines, it's like, cool. That is awesome. Like, that is a combat experience I've not had in any other game.
It's just never... Well, it does come... for me, it came together like that a few times, but nowhere near enough. And the thing about the tears, like, one of the mechanics is that when you run around, she can see into...
You can pull stuff from other dimensions, right? I've heard that's very much like kind of...
It's gimmicky.
It feels like scripted.
Yeah. You could have, like, so there are, well, you could have pulled anything through. You could have pulled, like, a truck through.
Right.
Or a plane that was crashing in another, and you imagine that.
But
like,
it's always health packs and gun turrets.
It's always a gun turret. Why could it not be from, I don't know, from anything? Like, it's just they had.
Well, that's it.
They gave themselves the justification.
It's infinite potential, isn't it?
Quite exactly. And then they went, no, let's just do gun turrets. And you're saying, for a game that seems so big and so ambitious, you think, come on, Ken. Come on.
Weird. It does seem like she's the gun turret lady.
It's interesting, like, for those who were... Because there's some people who worried about when they... Especially when they saw the BioShock Infinite cover, and it had Booker, and it's, like, very kind of...
Man with gun,
man with gun, pretty girl, big boobs.
That's a Duke Nukem thing, by the way.
And everyone's like, oh, you know, they're mainstreaming it up, and, you know, they're just doing it for the bro crowd, and, oh, I'm really worried about this. Like, don't be worried.
No, don't be worried about that.
All. Don't be worried about that aspect whatsoever.
Just go and buy it. Just go and bloody buy it, because it's worth playing.
I mean, that's the thing.
Finish it so I can talk to you.
I've got to try and finish it this weekend. I'm thanking my blessings for a 4-day weekend, because it's just, that is getting done. But I mean, it's just one of these things. It's a spectacle. It's a wonderful thing. It does feel like very much like that era of the kind of like the World Fair. Come and look at this, because it does feel like, wow, this might be as good as it gets for a while. Just because it's like this was a game funded off the back of BioShock, a game which hit pre-recession and did the numbers and was heralded and critically came to hell. And they went, right, guys, you're doing this, you're doing whatever you want. I mean, you know, that's it's 2K, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
2K, they've got a crazy business model anyway. They literally
make it really good.
They just go make it really good. How much money do you need? Okay, here's a check.
They use Spec Ops as well. 2K.
Yeah, I mean, Spec Ops just
they just
throw money.
Just take as long as you like.
They throw money at stuff until because they think, well, it kind of works with GTA. You throw the money at it, and then you make it back. And I hope that this does, because I've got a feeling that the game was kind of bankrolled and started rolling at a time when things were better, and I don't know if things are going to be good enough to recoup the cost for this game. I really don't know, because there's a huge amount of hype, but it just feels like a different time. It's a different time in the console cycle, different weird times for everything.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I mean, regardless, I mean, it's one of those games that review scores just don't matter. It's like, it's just a spectacle. It might be Titanic, it might be the world's biggest, most beautiful ship ever, and time will tell whether or not it ends up, in retrospect, hitting an iceberg. But I think it's just it's a ship you've got to be on.
Well, you've got to. It's one of the best thing about it is I'm not talking about the ending or anything else about the narrative of the game. Is that everyone wants to talk about it, so everyone wants to discuss Bioshock Infinite, which makes it far more important in a way than the new COD, for example. You go, you shoot people.
No one.
That's what I loved about the original Bioshock, because I didn't play it in one sitting, because I had to work quite a lot of hours in the job at that point. So I used to play it for about 3 hours, and actually what I found myself enjoying more than the game was just thinking about it and thinking about what was going on and trying to work it out. And I'm kind of tempted to take it easy with Infinite as well, for the same reason of maybe just sort of.
I would say I would definitely say to do that, because then the combat might seem less repetitive simply by virtue of you having a few hours break from it.
Because I played it almost in one sitting. I played it in 2 sittings, and obviously you did the same because you were reviewing it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that had an impact on how we.
Well, when I played it for preview, I still kind of felt the same. Yeah. But I mean, that is, I wouldn't say necessarily like a huge point. But again, the way you experience games obviously, affects how you feel about them. Yeah. But I just thought, I mean, there are games that I've played for X hours.
Some games
the combat is like, oh my god.
Some games don't bear well.
Can keep on going on with this combat. Like the original, Max Payne 2, for example. Yeah. I was like, yes, just more.
I can't get enough of this. It's like, get rid of that story stuff. I just want to.
I mean, last year I reviewed Prototype 2 when I was working for OXM, and I think I gave it a 6 or a 7. I can't remember, because I really got bored of it very quickly.
These computers,
and it was just like that. No, that was a highlight. The joke about the computers and the keyboard made me laugh, and that was at the start of the game. And I thought, this game's going to be great because it's got a great sense of humour. And then it forgot its sense of humour and just became this mindless grind that was extremely dumb and extremely watered down to try and make it. Which is
an incredible thing to do from the first prototype, which I really enjoyed.
I loved it,
crazy
combat. It was rubbish, but I loved it. Whereas Prototype 2
enjoyable
was
bollocks.
Incredibly polished. It was like the most well-polished game I've seen in years, and it was boring as hell.
Yeah.
But, having said that, that was because Activision's review thing was, well, you can review it before it comes out, yes, but we're going to bring someone around to your office and they're going to sit next to you for 2 days.
Oh, yeah, we had that.
I literally had 2 days, 2 office days.
Wow.
And I just had to play it because of that, because it was such a short time. I had to play it and do nothing else for 2 days.
What were they doing while sitting
They
there?
were looking really bored.
So they weren't there to advise?
No,
oh, hey, why didn't you try this?
They were literally there to make sure that nobody stole or copied the code.
That's mental.
A fascinating insight to this industry and how little publishers actually trust us and how little respect they have for us as professionals.
Respect my authority.
As a company, not any people. Fuck off.
Very quickly about Bioshock Infinite. So it got delayed, didn't it?
Yes.
How long was that delay?
It's like, when was it?
It was meant to be late last year, November time, I believe.
And so 3-4 months?
Well, a bit more than that, but 5, 6.
I wonder what happened in that delay period. Like, what did they work on?
Could have been.
I would love.
Could have been
know.
Tactical. I mean, Christmas is always rammed.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was tactical. I mean, I'm sure they had stuff to polish up. Like, even if it's just like, hey, can we make these light switches look better? Sure, we can. I don't know. I think they maybe.
Interesting.
I think they've got cold feet. I think a lot of people got cold feet at the moment. Yeah, there's a lot of games coming out, and a lot of games are looking like they're doing quite well. But I think that they're not doing as well as people expect them to.
Okay.
Because the cake at the moment is literally just like everyone's getting a slice that looks nice, but actually. They were kind of expecting to get a bigger slice of the cake, and there's this fat kid in the corner who's just eaten a whole cake.
Who's the fat kid?
It's Call of Duty.
Okay.
And I think everyone keeps expecting to get a bigger slice of the Call of Duty market because that's what they convince themselves they should be able to do. And on paper, they should.
At some point.
But it's not really working.
The fat kid is going to get full, though, right?
Well, that's the problem. The fat kid's already full.
And he's
COD and his FIFA.
And he's still eating.
Goonies.
It is the fat kid from the Goonies, yeah. I'm glad you got that. I was trying to...
Isn't he now a lawyer?
I don't know, he's just a fat
I think he's a lawyer now.
I'd love it if he's a lawyer.
He got tired of being fat and became a lawyer.
Maybe he's still fat, though.
He's not. I've seen a picture of him.
Okay. He's lost weight.
Yeah, he has lost weight. Okay. And I think he's bald.
But it's like Square Enix. They did quite well with all this stuff, and now they're
No, they did not.
Screwed. Precisely. It's like, it looked like they were doing okay, and now they're just like, oh God, we've lost more money.
I've got more money than Square Enix at the moment.
That's mental.
Yeah, I do. I've got more money than Square Enix in my pocket right now.
I've got like 8 pence. Should we go and buy Tomb Raider? Let's make our own version of Tomb Raider. It'll just be the old one.
I'd like to see that.
But it would have our logo on the
Dinosaurs.
front. Yeah. Like those old white label re-releases on PC.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just a picture of your face instead of a logo. Steve Games. Stevie's Games. Big grinning Steve Burns on the corner.
Let's do it.
Oh man, that's going to be like the best budget title range ever.
I'd buy all those budget titles.
Bioshock Infinite's on there as well.
3 for 15.
Mastertronics backing me.
Bosh. I've got an image of it in my head. It's wonderful. I'm going to buy all these games from the game shops. But yeah, so Bioshock Infinite, go and buy it and then see what you think.
Am I the only pleb that's going to play it on Xbox?
Yeah, probably.
Don't play it on Xbox.
I haven't got a PC at
it
home.
looks like you've got cataracts.
Tom, I've offered you a PC.
You didn't offer it to me. You wanted to sell it to me.
Yeah.
If you'd given it to me, I'd have.
I'm not going to give you a gaming PC.
Cancel that eBay thing.
I can't now.
Cancel it.
People are bidding on
Doesn't
it.
matter. Cancel it.
No, I can't.
And then give it to me.
I'm not. That's not how it works. And I don't want
a good deal.
Then I will play it on PC.
Okay.
That's still not a good deal.
You didn't. Right. Well, you've only got yourself to
But
blame.
we've got a copy of it in the office on PC.
It means I have to play it in the office, which isn't like brilliant.
But just quietly, you own this company. You could take that PC home.
I'd rather
you live
didn't.
3 minutes round the corner.
That wouldn't
PC
do my job very well if you did.
Oh yeah, it's not on your PC. It's on.
No, that one. Yeah, take Steve's PC. Then he can't do his job.
No, there's some other security measures.
Gosh.
Anyway, I'll tell you what I've been playing more of this week, actually, to the point that I've actually had to stop playing it because I'm worried I'm going to damage my wrist in some way irreversibly. I've been playing SimCity.
I thought you were going to say seduce me.
I've also been playing an iPhone game. Well, not iPhone. iPhones is rubs. I've been playing on the Android playing Plague Inc.
The ultimate gaming platform.
The ultimate gaming. Yeah, we were having a joke about this the other week, right? And the fact that it's like Ouya is coming out, right? And its one selling point is it's an Android gaming system. And the one bad thing about Android is that it's really hard to get any good games on it.
Yeah.
So good luck with that, Ouya.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing Plague Inc. and SimCity, and they both kind of remind me of each other for different reasons.
What's Plague Inc?
Plague Inc. is a game in which you have to engineer and mutate a virus or a bacteria which spreads around the world and kills everyone. So the idea is it's basically the world map, and you choose how to change your.
Is it free?
Your bug. It's like 70
pence.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I really like it.
Nice.
Because what I like about it is it makes you kind of quite quickly become really evil, because you're like, okay, well, I'll infect a really poor country, and so I'll make it so it gets passed around by insects and maybe blood contact. Or then, maybe you're like, okay, we're getting to like the middle class areas now. Well, let's give some drug immunity. Let's give it to rats.
Oh my
screw
god!
them up. So basically, it means that wherever it's spreading, you kind of have to make tactical decisions on what to spend your points on to make it spread more effectively. But then it's also got this thing of being like, you don't want to make your disease too dangerous too soon, because if you do, then people start freaking out about it and they start looking for a cure. So you kind of want to like get it out there.
Oh, that's sinister.
And spread it across the world. And then when it's kind of everywhere, then you switch it on and go, right, now we're talking.
So it's like
paralysis, madness, diarrhea. Like, you know,
it's like essentially working for a big pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
But speaking of like making you feel really evil but good about it. DEFCON, where it's like you launch the nuke at New York, and it's like New York hit 6.8 million dead. You're like, yes, get in, yes.
Well, that's it. It's really satisfying watching the number jump up of the infected people, and then towards the end of the game, watching the dead people jump up, and it always ends up with this little balanced run of being like, you watch as you've infected everyone, and then you watch the dead counter go up as the infected counter goes down, which is basically just the world population dying. And next to that, them looking for the cure going up. And it becomes this thing of they like often get quite close, like they get to 90%. And it's you almost feel sorry from that point, because they get to 90%, but then you've evolved such a nasty strain of this virus that people are dying so quickly that the scientists are dying and societies are falling apart, and suddenly the research just slows down and grinds to a halt, and then the last 10% of the world's population just slowly die, and there's nothing they can do about it. But it's an awesome. It's all done through the medium like DEFCON of just a world map.
Yeah,
but it's awesome.
That sounds wicked.
It reminds me of SimCity because it's amazing how quickly you just slip into the mindset of being really evil. And I love the new SimCity, and I'm probably going to make a video about this actually, because I think it's a game that's had some huge problems at launch,
massive,
that are utterly like undefendable. However, I do think that what they've created is something fascinating and genius. And I think that people seem to think that EA have said, oh, it has to be always online because we want to make loads of money, anti-piracy and stuff. And I honestly, from a gameplay perspective, do not think that's the case. I think that the decision they've made to make it this constantly online kind of social thing is brilliant, and I think it does define the game. And the reason for that is that SimCity is... The new SimCity is not like the old SimCities, but that's great, because if you want a game where you can make these sprawling paradises that go on forever, you just play SimCity 2000. And that allowed you freedom. So if something's wrong, you just fixed it, because you have this infinite scope. And it was all about trying to, like you said, Matt, trying to build a utopia.
Yeah.
But what I love about the new SimCity is it screws you.
Yeah,
and actually,
you can't do that.
For a while, you just go, okay, well, I need more workers for the factories, so you just zone more residential. Yeah. And you just go, oh, I need more factories. All right, zone more. Yeah. And you just basically you've got a quick fix at any point. You expand. Yeah. You've got all this land. But then you run out of land. And then at that point, the game... You kind of look at it, and some people think, "Oh, I've run out of city space. The game is over. I'm bored.
I can't build anymore."
But that's when the game begins, because actually, then you've got this impossible task of just trying to refine a city and trying to balance things and trying to make it work. And you actually have real-world city issues you've got to deal with, like. Everyone wants a garbage dump, everyone wants recycling, but no one wants to live next to it. Yep. And it's like, everyone wants schools and everyone wants fire brigades and stuff, but nobody wants to pay taxes for it.
Exactly.
So then you've got to have loads of industry in the town to make money to counter that out, but then people don't want the pollution from that either. Yep. So it's basically an impossible game.
But then you'll reach a point where it's like, okay, I don't have any more room to build industry for people to work in this town.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a new city.
That's just industry.
That's just industry. And then people start commuting, they've got their jobs, that's fine. But then that creates even more traffic on the roads. It's like, have I got the mass transit to support this? Because are people going to be able to get to their jobs in time and still go shopping and get home? If not, then, I'm going to have to spend all this money on road structure or like trains.
Yeah.
And then it depends on their wealth, their class. If they're middle class, then they're probably not going to take like buses and all that.
Yeah, so you need to get trains and...
Exactly,
But it's like, especially when you've already built your city up, it's the difficulty of going, where does this all go? And it's amazing, because I spent like 20 minutes playing it the other day, just looking at the map, just chewing my lip and just scanning around going... where am I going to put this? And there's something I needed to put this building here, because it was just like, if I didn't do it, then the city was going to be in real trouble. But it was now so dense and so populated that anywhere I put it was either going to take a huge chunk out of my industrial income, or going to like leave 1,000 people homeless, which would massively cut my income from tax. And so it's like, I don't want to put it anywhere, but I have to choose. And sometimes, as Matt said, you have to just bite the bullet as well and go, I've messed this up. I need to actually demolish this whole area and rebuild it. And although it doesn't cost you more money to zone more commercial and zone, the lack of income from the taxes and stuff can really screw you. Especially when like I've got a town where it's like loads of education, good fire coverage, good, and the taxes are like, they won't pay them. Like people refuse to pay the taxes. And there's so much dark stuff in the game. Like I love the way that like lower class people, if you've just got like really uneducated lower class people, they'll pay a fortune in tax. Middle classes and upper classes, as soon as you go anything above like a small amount, they just go, the taxes are too high, I'm leaving. And it's just
it's weird.
Just like real life.
Yeah, precisely. It's really... But then it's crazy.
Keep the population dumb.
Because it makes you realise how you just do... why governments are so bad. And I found there's a fascinating thing where I unthinkingly had a problem in my mining community where I had this ghetto, basically, where they couldn't get jobs.
Hold on.
They couldn't get jobs. They had a really poor quality of life. Yeah. Everything was going badly for these guys, and I had to deal with it. So my immediate thought was, screw it. I just demolished the whole thing and built some luxury condos. And that is exactly what's happening next to my house in Old Kent Road. And that's what's happening all over the UK. And, basically... What is amazing about this new SimCity game is it's not about building cities. It's about managing societies.
It's about building communities.
And it is. It's about trying to manage communities, and it is just fascinating. And what I really want to get more into, and I thought, I don't want to play online with random people. By God, I want to play online with random people, because you actually then have to deal with the real world issue of the fact that the other cities around you aren't always your friends.
Yeah.
And, you've got to deal with pollution coming over the sea, over your city, and your people complaining about that. You've got to deal with the fact that their housing is so poor that people all want to come and live where you are, and you're getting insane traffic you can't deal with because you've created a quality of life that other people can't.
Yeah.
And I just think what they've managed to create, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they can advance that, I think they've almost managed to create like a world simulator in a way that a lot of people haven't seen. And a lot of people just go, oh, why are the cities so small? Yeah. It's like, I'm not being funny. You are missing the point.
Yeah. I think a little bit is their own fault, because
they haven't communicated it well.
They don't explain the region stuff nearly as much as they explain the actual inner city stuff. Like in inner city, you got like all the guides. You can literally go to like your education dude and click guide me, and he tells you what to build and what it does and all that, and all the tooltips come up or how to build your city. You go to the region view, and it's sparse. There's almost nothing that tells you, apart from you can give you can provide fire support and all that, but it does not do as nearly good a job communicating how the region stuff works. And I'm not sure whether, because in the first few weeks of release, the region stuff was actually kind of broken. It didn't really work. I haven't read the latest patch note, but they've been rolling out fixes.
I think they're still working
daily
on it. Yeah, I think it still feels like, admittedly, it still feels technically a little bit wonky, especially when you're switching between cities in one region quickly. It seems like it's not quite synced up right. But I don't know, it's not like, I think a lot of people just automatically, myself included, got cynical and thought, it's all nicey Farmville bollocks, and it's not. It's like even simple stuff, like in one of my towns, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll let you use my garbage trucks, next door neighbour. Hey, that's a lovely thing to do, isn't it? And then realised I was just like, went back to the other town, and in that town that I was helping out, they had a garbage dump, but it hardly had any garbage in it. It was fine, going really slowly. And then this other town is just chocker. It's like, oh my God, we've got a landfill that is huge, because they're being a landfill for 3 cities. And it's just, what I like about it is it's got that nasty kind of sense of consequence that the real world does, is there's no such thing as a perfect city, and the rubbish stuff has to go somewhere, and somebody has to live next to it.
Have you not seen Croydon?
Precisely. But I think if you want that kind of city builder thing where you can literally have the nasty side of the world map where it's like miles away from all the good stuff, then just buy SimCity 2000. I really don't like the fact that when new games come out, people want it to be a shinier version of a game that they loved 10 years ago.
But they'll also criticise games that do that. It's like, they've just remade it.
Yeah. I think that, admittedly they've cocked it up massively, but SimCity is just a really interesting and brave bit of game design that's really cutting edge. Like I think the always online stuff, I think when it's done for the kind of reason of, we don't want to steal our games, then it's rubbish. But in this case, it's just like, whoa, you know how when we all started playing Facebook games and they had the potential to be awesome, but they were rubbish? Well, this is the future. This is cool.
Better.
But I'm
going to play more of SimCity.
I'm like, well,
I still play it.
But how can I just ask a question?
Sure.
How does this experience that you described, which actually sounds amazing, tally really with your professional obligation to carry out your vendetta against Electronic Arts? I want to be on message
because I'm a games journalist.
I'm confused by this. Sorry,
obviously, because I am a games journalist. EA are dicks.
Yeah. Suck it, EA. Yeah.
I think it's a funny one, because it's like I'm really going to struggle with this, and you'll probably see actually by the time the video I'm going to make, which is going to say some of these things anyway, so feel free to skip it because it just said a lot of it.
SimCity Game of the Year.
People are going to say like, oh yeah, you've been paid by EA, you're an EA shill and all this stuff, and it's like, well actually, like, look, I didn't play this game for the first week because I played that with Diablo 3 and I got bitten by that, and I'm not doing that anymore because it's just inevitable. But I think what they made is awesome, and I think that a lot of people, somebody actually last night from the forum, fair enough, Cheeky Lee said on Twitter, he said to me, I don't care if it's the best game ever made, you still shouldn't buy it. And it's like, well, there is a lot to be said for voting with your wallet, but when it's already sold 1 million copies, and it's like, no, this is not, I know, I don't agree with that. It's just like, if it is the best game in the world, it's the best game in the world.
We got interesting question later on from the forum that kind of ties into that.
There are degrees of politics, and there are degrees where you say no, this is not on, and put your foot down. But I don't think this is one of them, and I don't think the idea that they were being greedy is right either. I think they were trying to do something and it ended up being far more successful initially than they expected. The servers crashed, and I think EA's response of offering everyone a free game is pretty not bad. And that's like, especially because it's not even like the people who had problems. You didn't have to click a link and go, "Oh, I had a problem. Can I have a free game?" You log into Origin. Anyone who buys SimCity gets a free game.
Yeah,
and it's
one of those games is Crysis 3.
Yeah, one of them's Battlefield 3.
One of them's also Medal of Honor Warfare.
Yeah, Medal of Honor, and one of them is Dead Space 3. But
and one of them is SimCity 4.
SimCity 4, which is brilliant.
It's really funny.
But yeah, I've got a lot of time for that. They did their best. I think they really screwed up, and I think that they have taken note. I think the idea that they're just sitting there cackling and rolling around in money.
Lucy Bradshaw had an interesting forum post about how she's going into all the issues and everything, and kind of laid everything out, and then said, we've kind of inadvertently created an MMO in the sense that it's always updating, always changing, and always getting better.
Yeah.
And
she must have known. They must have known that was what this was.
Yeah, I think that was just a nice little line.
I think they must have. They said that people are playing differently in higher quantities than they did in the beta. I think basically what they failed to account for is that when
beta
people
was an hour long, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think what they failed to account for is the fact that when people buy beta, they'll have a go on it for an hour, and then they'll go, "Oh, this is fun. I'll look forward to investing proper time in this when it actually is mine to keep."
Yeah,
and
I think
with MMOs. Basically, they went, "Oh, we need this many servers, probably," and then it came out, and they were just like, "Oh God, our estimates were just so wrong." So I think someone's probably got a slap on the wrist for that, to say the least. But I think, people have been real tools about it. I think, especially on the internet, and I think a good friend of mine, Steve Hoggerty, said it best on Twitter when it all kicked off, and people said, "Oh, it does work offline," and it's like, yeah, SimCity does work offline if you consider most of the features that were built to be part of the game not working.
Yeah.
And it is like, technically you can put it offline, but that wasn't the intention for the game, and that wasn't what they were trying to achieve with the game.
Yeah.
And I think it is ambitious. And I think that if it was a game that wasn't called SimCity, and if it was made by a smaller studio and a smaller publisher, people would be fapping themselves off mental for this insanely ambitious online game. But as it is, it's EA. And so
it's evil.
Oh, you dicks.
Yeah. Anyway, it's easy to get hung up on the whole online DRM aspect without looking at the actual online region connectivity stuff.
I think
which is interesting, if a little broken, but hopefully it'll get
I think
better.
It goes both ways. I think that it's they wanted to do something and they did, but their messaging as ever is dog shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, EA have a huge problem with that. And that's why
it can never run offline.
Yeah.
But someone just did it. Okay, well, it can, but only for 20 minutes, but now it runs forever. Oh, I'm sorry, I just wanted to make this game.
Well, we've experienced firsthand, obviously, with the Dead Space 3 controversy that we got embroiled with, frankly. The EA do have some big issues internally with communications, and I think that they're just a company that's too big, and they have that big company syndrome of not letting the people who actually know what they're talking about just standing up and saying something, and quickly sending out auto damage reduction messages, which actually just start
make
fires.
It worse.
And I don't think that at heart the developers behind them are this crazy hamstrung damaged people being hit with sticks by execs.
Look, I've worked at EA.
They are all evil.
They are all evil.
Did you have to burn puppies for breakfast?
No, I will say this though about EA. When I worked there, testers weren't allowed in the front door with all the other staff. You had to go in the back door. That is 100%.
No. Get to the back of the bus.
Seriously, you had to come in through a different door.
Were there separate toilets for testers?
No. What? No. No, there weren't. But you had to. Yeah, it was frowned upon if the testers came in through the same door.
That is mental.
True facts.
You probably did look a bit dirty, though, didn't you?
I didn't. How very dare you?
Yeah, you probably did. I reckon you smelt really funky as well.
What? Have you seen this scarf?
It is a nice scarf.
Yeah, you've come up in the world now, Steve. You've left that world behind you.
Yeah. And the old pictures of me wearing promotional T-shirts. Oh, but yeah.
I still wear promotional T-shirts by accident sometimes.
just by mistake.
Yeah. I was really hungover one day a couple of weeks ago, and I came in wearing like a Borderlands T-shirt and then a Battlefield 3 hoodie on top, just because I hadn't really looked at what I was wearing.
I was disgusted.
I'll tell you what, though, that Battlefield 3 hoodie is so warm.
Chill.
That doesn't have ever changed my opinion.
Did you disclose that?
Having said that,
in your SimCity video?
Well, I've never really played Battlefield 3, so
Played the hoodie though.
The hoodie doesn't have any effect on me at all.
10 out of 10 for the hoodie.
10 out of 10. Very cozy. I wear it when I'm sleeping, and it infects my dreams with positive thoughts about EA, which explains all of this podcast. Anyway, no, yeah, SimCity interesting. Yeah.
Is it on Xbox?
It's not on Xbox.
Not on Xbox, Tom. Do you want a PC?
Yeah.
For 300 quid?
No.
Okay.
What I will say though is I'm not letting it off, but also like what Diablo 3 did, that was bullshit, right? Because Diablo 3 was always online, so they could have an online microtransaction economy that they could shave a profit off, and they've realised that was bullshit because they've since rolled that back a bit. But that was basically going, it's always online. Why? Because then we can make money from it. Oh, does it affect the game? Well, no, not really.
Apart from the lag.
Fact that we've got a bit of lag, and sometimes you'll lose your save progress. Oh, and the reason we've done it is so that you'll get less good treasure in the game, so you can buy it on like an eBay system in the game.
Yeah.
So it does affect the game a bit. Whereas this, it's like, does it affect the game? It's like, yeah, it makes it much more interesting. It's like, okay, well, when it's
you win
fixed,
this round,
I might be less angry with you.
Yeah.
Anyway, anyone else been playing any other games?
Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
still Tomb Raider. Still playing through that. I like it a lot. I just think they could have. And it's this thing about journalists know best, blah blah blah. But I think they just could have made it grittier somehow, like more of a
more.
I know. I'm not saying what happens to her isn't bad, but the way the way she gets over it is all too. It's all too like, quick. Oh, this is awful, and now I'm going to kill hundreds of guys.
Yeah. She gets stabbed through her stomach with a metal pole at the start of the game, and then proceeds to sprint for about 10 hours.
She does hold her side for a while.
Yeah, but then it's like there's too much. Like it's too easy. Like they tried to make it seem like it's hard for her to do all this stuff, but that isn't believable. As soon as she starts blowing heads off, I'm not sure you can blow a head off, but effectively you would do. Like she
does some pretty sick executions,
and it's just like I just want it to be more of a progression of how she became like a killer.
Are you finding yourself wanting more sort of survivalist gameplay?
Yeah,
and the bits I liked most about Tomb Raider were the secret tombs were kind of cool, but just scaling stuff, like scaling the rock mountains and then going onto the zip line, and then you'll get something later on that makes going up zip lines just trivial.
Yeah.
But I liked doing all that sort of climbing mountains and stuff and just running around.
I've heard there isn't enough of that though.
No, but when you do get to that, it's the best thing. It's the best thing. Well, similar to Bioshock Infinite, it's like, I don't want to shoot dudes.
Because it's not so much about surviving on this island, it's about killing all the people on the island.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
That is, the killing is okay. Yeah. Like, it's fine. It's a game. You shoot people, and that's done okay.
I love it. It was realistic of being like, that bit at the start when the dude says, "You've got to go and climb that radio tower, Lara." I love it if she just points to the fact where she was impaled with a rusty pole about 10 minutes earlier and just goes, "Nah. I'm gonna have a bit of a rest. I'm gonna stay here with you because I'm really injured as well."
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
She's a survivor.
But forget all that, because one game that I have been playing, I'm in the process of reviewing at the moment, where there is a lot of justified man shooting, is Army of 2 3, or Army of 2 The Devil's Cartel, or Army of Dude Bro. Oh, there's a fist bump in the first 5 minutes.
Army of 2 Mexican Pinata Squad.
It has, yeah, exactly. You're in Mexico.
Killing the drug man.
You're killing all of them. And
hey, hombre, you want the drugs?
There's less dialogue than that.
I don't want the drugs, and I'm going to kill you for offering them.
It's not that civil. But I've got a theory about the game, because in the game you do like normal shooting, and then you kind of build up a kind of score chain, as it were, and then you can hit left bumper and you go into more Dakar mode, and it just goes into overkill, and you go into like an 80s action movie,
Rambo mode,
and everything just explodes and it all goes sepia tinted,
and you're invincible as well,
and you're invincible, you've got infinite ammo. So my theory about the game is that it seems dumb, and it is, but it's for a reason. This is the best game of the year, okay? Because at the start, your convoy is hit,
it's like a rocket or something,
with a rocket, and then it's kind of like a flashback sort of thing. And so that, for me, is obviously the narrative devices, they're dying. And this is their revenge fantasy, where they can take revenge with all these superpowers. So if that doesn't happen at the end of the game, I'm going to give it nothing. But if it does, I'm going to be confident saying it's the best game of this or any year.
Yeah.
I did really like what I played of that, because it's like I went to an EA showcase last year and I played loads of games and I was like, these are all so boring.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, look, Crysis 3. I was like, oh, I don't really get the Crysis games. And it's like, hey, look, it's there's some more stuff for Warfighter. Oh no, let's not be silly now. And then it's like, hey, Fuse. I'm like, actually, I kind of like the look at this, but I don't know, something a bit. And then it's like, hey, look, it's Dead Space 3. And I was like, no, no. And then it was like, I was like, hang on a minute, this is a game where you press a button and everything you shoot just explodes and all their limbs fly off. And it's really fun. And I was like, I'm playing a video game. It's a video game.
Video games,
I've forgotten
guys.
about these before they had the narrative arcs and the story progressions. You just shot things and they blew up.
Yeah.
Having said that, then I was like, they were like, hey, we want to tell a story that people can relate to. So it's about the Mexican cartel and gang war. I'm like, I did actually say directly to the guy in charge of this series, I said, mate, like, you want to make a story that people can relate to? How many people can relate to Mexican cartel drug wars? And his answer was pretty much like, well, they've seen it on TV and stuff, haven't they?
Yeah. Oh my
and it's just
God.
like, fuck off.
Yeah.
But I'm really concerned that it's going to be a game that should be awesome, but you can't really enjoy it because it ends up being tremendously racist and damaging culturally.
There's a lot. Well, it's a very meta game because they keep on explaining away all of the shit tropes in it. Like at the start, there's loads of barrels, and they go, shoot the barrels. He goes, there's barrels everywhere, and the guy goes, there's always barrels. Have you not played a video game? And I was like, ha. And then later on, you run into like mounted gunfire, and you kill the guy who's like operating it, and then people run at you because that's what happens in video games. And one of them goes, oh, they're running towards us. That's a bit stupid. And the guy goes, we just did it. And it's like, video games. And I just think it's ultra dumb. But I do think
I've got so much time for that, though.
What if I give it a 9 and I only gave BioShock an 8? Can you imagine?
I'd love it if that happened.
I've got
It'd be so funny.
I've got so much time for it. I'm fed up with games trying. It's impossible now. And BioShock, the original, has a lot to do with this. But it feels like you can't get games now that aren't cerebral. It's like games need to be cerebral. And the problem is most of them are just shit at it. And it's like, stop trying to be clever and then falling into a puddle full of mud, right? When you could just jump around in a puddle full of mud with a big smile on your face. And
Yeah.
I want some wellies now. Has anybody wellies?
I hated the first Army of Two. Absolutely. It was everything I hated.
Total dick.
Oh, I just hate.
Was that a box quote?
Yeah, I was on the poster.
Could have been
Steve Burns, total dick.
Total dick.
They thought I was referring to myself. So,
but I hated the characters with Rios and
Tyson, Rios, and Salem's Lot or something. I don't know.
I hated them. I hated everything they said. I hated everything they did.
Imagine that game.
Imagine that. Sorry,
Yeah.
I've just gone off on one here. But imagine if the second character in the Army of Two was Salem the cat from. Imagine the wisecracks you get from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh my days, right.
And he'd like roll his eyes and go, "Oh, I can't believe how many guys we just killed."
And then he'd magic in some. Oh, it'd be like he'd be like Elizabeth. He'd be like Elizabeth.
my God.
BioShock stole from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Salem the cat from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Expose. Write that up.
I will.
His own game
But
right now.
What's the Army of Two? The theory. Are you going to talk about the theory? About
It was what the,
was it that
relationship?
Or was it another one?
it's not my theory. It's a Penny Arcade theory from a few years back that if you were to play the first Army of Two, but under the context that they're gay lovers, it makes the game infinitely better. Because everything they say, keep all the same dialogue. Everything they say, they love going shopping, love getting all this bling. It's like it's a grand stereotype, but it makes the game itself so much more interesting.
The game itself,
fantastic.
Because the original Army of Two, it went to review with. It went to review, and then I think one of the mags said, "Oh, we've got the world exclusive review or something," and then suddenly it was pulled, and loads of stuff was cut. Like there was a tampon mini game. Which probably ties into your
somehow, I don't know, but yeah,
Salem the Teenage
probably
Witch
ties
stuff.
into the
Salem
but
got pulled out,
and the
but they kept the name as an Easter egg.
Loads of the vehicle sections got cut as well,
yeah.
And then it came back and it was this weird kind of disjointed.
Yeah.
But the second one was so stupid and
so
over
dumb.
the top. Like I think you could put like a bottle or a Coke can on the end of your gun as a silencer, and you can have zebra print, and you made tigers extinct, and you actually got children killed in cutscenes. cutscenes, and it was just fucking unbelievably stupid. But
it's like
better than the first one.
Michael Caine Zulu, but directed by like Guy Ritchie. Or something. It's just really weird.
You know that's going to happen now because you've said out loud, Zulu is going to be remade
by Guy Ritchie.
And it's going
You're
to
only
be
supposed to blow the bloody.
It's going to have Danny.
I'm not going to end that.
Danny Dyer. It's going to have Danny Dyer.
Danny Dyer saying, "No, governor, he's just killed all those."
These Zulus are well naughty. They're proper naughty.
proper tear up.
Proper cheeky Zulus over there, Gov, blowing them off with a gun. Whee!
Oh no, it's going to happen.
Yeah, God, kill the world, end it all, fire it into space. So, news. We've got basically one big bit of news this week, and Dave, the news cannon, is not here. So
skiving off.
We've got it's the Tom Oria clock news.
Yeah.
Bong.
Battlefield 4.
That's the news.
There we go.
This is the news.
It looks pretty.
Yeah, it looks really pretty.
It's Frostbite 3, you know,
Bongs.
not 2 anymore.
There's enough bongs now.
Okay.
You've had
It's
enough.
3. And it has better graphics because of Frostbite 3.
Okay, yeah.
And I believe it's got better animations.
Okay.
than Frostbite 3.
Oh, yeah.
I love you.
I'm not sure if you can tell that by the
You're
trailer.
pretty
but,
much reading this off a bullet point list.
And it's got a bit of chop a guy's leg off. Have you seen
Is that a bullet point?
It is. It's a bullet point. Dave did this list.
Yeah, this isn't an official press release.
I was going to say, this is a scam all this.
Has anyone watched The Wire?
Yes.
Because it's got Michael K. Williams. Does anyone know who he
Who
is?
does he play?
What's his character?
Dave didn't include that information.
Oh, God, David.
He had one job to do.
One
One
job.
of the soldiers is based on him.
Based
So, yeah.
on the character from The Wire?
The actor.
The
I think.
actor.
That is infinitely better, though, isn't
Yeah,
it? If you
wouldn't
imagine it? Oh, like, no one's got imagination anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it's lots of this stuff sounds like any other shooting game. It does look nice.
Exclusive news. You heard it here first.
It looks
Battlefield
nice.
4 will be like any other shooting game.
It has a bit. It does look. The trailer looks like it's got this bit where you can press a button or hold a button, I imagine, and everyone that you can see is suddenly obliterated by a machine gun from a helicopter.
It's like Army of Two.
But not as good.
Not as good.
Not anywhere near as good.
It does look fun
Interesting.
though. I've got to say, right? Because you said earlier, Stephen, it was a funny tweet about saying, "Oh, yeah, why are you showing us Battlefield?" Well, you might as well do the joke. Do the joke. Go on.
I don't want to put you
under
more
pressure.
of an observation.
Do the joke.
Okay, just saying that
Do your funny little dance.
Dice showing the single player of Battlefield is like EA making a trailer for a new FIFA which just has those skill games you warm up in before the actual match.
I like
Exactly.
those.
It's
I
a
like
funny
those
joke.
skill games.
Yeah, well,
It's not what you buy
they're
FIFA
all right.
for,
I
though.
But
played
you don't
them
go,
exclusively for a week.
really?
I did.
get
Those
that-
skill games before I started.
I
playing
can't tell the
FIFA.
Okay,
difference.
see,
though.
now you're the problem now, Tom.
In my mind, you didn't stop to like eat or anything. I was just like,
This is an unfortunate turn of events. But
That ruined your tweet.
not well. I think it's ruined you more than my tweet. But it's just like what I would have preferred, and I know why they did the single player stuff, or whatever that turns out to be, because they can control it and they can say, "Hey, here's what happens." But what I would really have loved was just get them whatever multiplayer they've got running.
Yeah.
Just if it's up to an acceptable degree, then just put loads of cameras, like debug cameras, in the world, and just record people playing for a week.
I'd love to watch a Battlefield 4 time lapse.
Yeah, and then like that Battlefield 3 video where the guy jumps out of it. Is it out of a jet into another jet? Yeah. See, that is the sort of imagination that I'd be like, when I saw that video, I was like, that is Battlefield. And a big grin when I was like, yes, Battlefield. Whereas this is just like Charlie, Mike, Delta, go to extraction, and there's a bit where he cuts the leg off, and then like this is it. He goes, "Get my knife, cut my leg off." So the guy cuts the leg off, and then he throws the knife away. Now that knife has seemed very important so far. Don't throw the knife away. And that's what got me about the game. It was like,
oh, it's covered in
like
blood.
A sausage, so his leg had exploded like a sausage.
oh yeah, it's just powder now. Cut my leg off, and then he just cuts it like he's slicing ham or something.
Yeah. Straight through.
Oh, professional.
Is this a story I'm supposed to relate to?
Yeah, you relate to the
'cause,
story
you know,
about the characters,
the war, because you've been in a war,
about the future war.
or you've seen one on the telly.
I played Armour.
Yeah, that's close
It's
enough.
close
You
enough?
can relate to that. Yeah,
Right, okay.
But I don't know. I mean, having said that, like it did when it on the demo when it opened up to like, a big area. It's like, well, this is basically what the multiplayer looks like. It's like when it was like a massive area and he was fighting dudes in vehicles and stuff. It's just like just imagine that guy in a car is another player, and that's the multiplayer.
But I can't because there's a bit in it where the guy is driving a combat buggy with a machine gun in the rear gunner's seat, and he drives up to a fence and hits the fence, and as he hits the fence, he jumps into the gunner's seat. I'm like, Well, that's some serious technology they've got. Teleportation in the future.
But what do you want to know? I mean, the thing is, like, this is why I'm mildly underwhelmed by it, but also it doesn't matter that I'm underwhelmed by it, because now Battlefield has become like Pokemon. That I'll know it's good, but I didn't play Battlefield 3 much, but I'll probably play Battlefield 4. In the same way that I skip a couple of games, and you go, like, I haven't played The Sims 3.
Yeah. Well, you were wrong.
I love playing The Sims 2.
Multiplayer because
I know, but I just think, well, I know what's going to be like. Here you are. Let's do a mock interview, right? I'll be the lead designer at DICE.
Okay.
Ask me questions about the multiplayer.
Are you making Mirror's Edge 2?
That's the classic first question. Oh, well, we'd like to. Maybe one day. That's what they always say.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
They honestly, everyone at DICE has a poster of Mirror's Edge on their wall and wears a Mirror's Edge t-shirt. I'm like barely exaggerating here.
Is this true?
It is pretty much true. I'm not even joking. She's everywhere. Like the character. Grace,
I like that game.
And they're always like, oh, you clearly love this, don't you? And like, yeah, we love it. Are you going to make another one? We'd really like to.
What did you say her name was? Grace?
I don't know, what's her name?
It's Faith.
Faith. Similar.
Grace.
It's got the same amount of letters.
It'll be Grace in the second game.
Ask me a question. This is an exclusive interview about Battlefield 4.
Okay, will the graphics in Battlefield 4 multiplayer be as good as a single player?
Yes.
How many guns are in it?
Loads.
I'm a German journalist. How many blocks will the save file take up?
Probably a reasonable amount, but some of it will be on a server, which you'll have to pay for, and you'll complain about that later.
Why do you persist in showing an area of the game that no one plays, and the people that do play it hate themselves afterwards and drink themselves into an early grave?
Because basically, it's just a case of showing people what the game actually looks like, because everything else is absolutely a given.
Why is it not coming to Wii U?
Because that's going to cost money, and the game's already very expensive, and we don't think we'll make any money by selling it.
Does EA hate the Wii U?
No, just nobody else likes the Wii U, so we're not going to bother doing it.
Do you like the Wii U?
Well, it's all right. But to be honest, I don't really use it, and I think it's probably going to die.
Can I chop a man's leg off in multiplayer?
No.
Well, then it's not representative. This interview's over. Flounces out.
And that's
dun, 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 dun.
That's like 100% true. That's exactly what they'd say. World exclusive.
Imagine if...
but it's just like, what do you want? You've seen what it looks like. You've seen the graphics, and then you think, take that graphics, put that in your mind.
Take that graphics.
Take that graphics, put that in your mind, and then imagine, can I do a thing in a plane? Yes. Can I do a thing in a boat?
But what if you can't
yes.
do a thing? We can't just keep taking that for granted.
Of course you can.
No.
We need to see it.
It will be Battlefield 3
You'll see it in about probably like 2 months.
But
You'll
that's
see
2 months.
It's not out for another like 6 months.
I know.
I like this video, and I think it looks good.
That's the official line. That's the official VideoGamer.com line.
In a way, I imagine you'd be doing the kind of, oh no, you didn't, finger wag. Well, I like this video.
I like graphics, and this has lots of nice graphics.
It has all of the graphics.
That makes me a shallow journalist.
Yeah, guys.
I hate games, really, but this... I like the look of it. It looks nice.
Yeah, you take that graphics.
And and I'll apply it.
Do you think it will look that good on Xbox?
Not on the Xbox that I have at home.
Yeah.
No, it will look rubbish on the Xbox.
Hopefully it'll look nice on the next
Is this going to be multi-generation?
Well, they haven't really said it, but yeah, it will.
Yeah, because they have spent the last 12 months going, hey, you know the cool thing about this Frostbite engine is it adapts across different things, which basically means just like, that's why EA are using it for everything. Yeah. It's just like, it's the easiest way.
I can't wait till just everything's announced. And as you said, the arms race is over.
For now.
Yeah. I just want to have the new consoles in my house. Is that so much to ask?
No. It's quite...
When are the debug units coming?
Never.
Exactly. And there'll probably be only one, which means there's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. I almost bought
freelancers.
I almost bought a Wii U the other day. I didn't.
Why?
Is that when it was on sale HMV?
Yeah.
I looked
Is that the 200 quid thing?
I could get this 200 quid.
Yeah.
This cost 340 quid for the same deal about whenever it came out. But I
bonk.
still couldn't convince myself to buy it.
It's only the space.
I've got the money at home in an envelope. I'm saving up for a new console.
Why do you put it in an envelope?
I could use that money.
We
to
have
buy
banks.
I know, but if it's in a bank, it's saved and then I won't be able to spend it.
Put it into like a separate account.
No, it's just there. It's there.
Right, okay.
If I
This is like the weakest link. Like you bank the money, you can't use it again.
That's what I kind of.
Do you keep it like under your mattress?
I don't like spending money, really. If it's in a bank, I'm even less willing to spend it. But if this is a special envelope,
hard cash.
I'm saving in hard cash in an envelope, so that when something comes that I want to buy, I'm going to go and buy.
I suppose that's good though, because you can see the envelope filling with cash, and you know that you're not taking it from the wife or the children or all those other shit things that get in the way of living your actual life. Okay, maybe I'll start doing that.
I've got a savings account. I'm an adult now.
What?
I know.
Do you have one of those Visa Electrons? They're good for. I got one of those when I was about 16.
Can you still only take £50 out a day on it?
Oh yeah.
We should probably move on from this to the something
talking about all our banking details. Well, all my money is in my shoe.
Hey guys, what's your favourite PIN code? Mine is.
Just putting it out there.
What was your first pet's name as well?
What's your mother's maiden name?
And where were you born? Thank you. Goodbye.
Just doing a survey.
I mean, that was fine, but we were veering dangerously into talking about like, would you prefer the M52 or the, that was like dad chat at a party.
I was about to mention ISIS.
Hello and welcome to Dad Chat. How do you get here tonight? Yes, it's a nice road. I particularly like the junction with the Burger King. I want to make a podcast called Dad Chat now. Anyway, let's have some questions from the forum.
Loads of questions. Fancy Mice is going to kick it off. Any ideas what the next Xbox will be called yet? Care to start a betting pool between yourselves?
It's going to be called the Sexbox 2000.
Sexbox 2000.
Xbox.
Just Xbox.
I actually think it's that, yeah.
Just Xbox.
Yeah.
I've just got a feeling. I feel it in my waters.
I've got a feeling on this press release in front of
Sexbox 2000.
Mr. Revelation, what do you think of Blizzard's new free-to-play title, Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft? Is it something you're interested in? Do you think it can succeed and attract many players?
Not interested, but yes.
Not interested, but yes.
You think it will succeed because it's Warcraft based. And it's free. It's from Blizzard.
Yes.
So yes, but I will never play it.
You'll never play it.
I haven't really had a chance to look it up yet, but provisionally I'm interested just because I do love the Warcraft lore and the characters and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Arthas.
On paper, it's everything I want.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. So I'm provisionally intrigued.
I've signed up for the beta, so hopefully I'll get
need to do that.
in and
I think it's going to do business, though, isn't it? Warcraft.
People bloody love Warcraft.
And also free-to-play games made by publishers who are like super polishy. Like Dota 2 is a massive favourite of mine, and part of that is because Valve, my God, they can polish things to an inch of their life, and Blizzard are good at that as well.
Yes.
So yeah,
they are good. Steve, does it interest you at all?
Steve,
you've got a blank look on your face.
Not personally, but it will be, as you say, an interesting game because of who makes it and what it represents. Yeah. So I'm actually really looking forward to not necessarily playing it, but seeing kind of the back end of who picks it up, how they pick it up, how they interact with it.
I reckon they're going for because it's like an online card game, right?
So it's online CCG. PvP, loads of other
Right, I don't know what those
letter.
I know what some of those.
You
things
know me.
Mean. CCG, collectible card
TBC,
game. TBC,
phones for you.
It's got all the elements for them to make them $1 bazillion.
But do you reckon they're going for kind of like the kind of slightly older market of the Skylanders thing, and they're going to go, oh look, we've also made the cards in real life?
I think they're going for the Magic crowd.
Yeah, precisely.
And the World of Warcraft crowd.
I reckon there's a lot of people that go to a shop downstairs from the office on Saturdays that are going to love this game.
Yeah, we've got a sort of independent games shop.
The only one left. We're harbouring it.
Yes. We're the shepherds.
It's like children of men. We're looking after it.
It is our lamb. We are the shepherds.
At one point we have to just go like, quickly, get in the car. We have to leave now. Bring all of your independent games.
We're going to go live with Michael Caine now.
Oh no, they found Michael Caine's house. Quick, pick up the Yu-Gi-Oh and get in the car. Get the cards. We've got to go.
Oh, this car will never start now.
Fun personal fact, I was almost in Children of Men.
Really?
Yeah, because
as a child or the man?
Well, no, basically because
in Clive Owen's role.
When I went to University of Kent in Canterbury, and they used to have quite a lot of extras there because they had a big drama thing going on there. So they hired loads of extras, and a lot of my friends went and were in some like kind of movies as extras. And I was going to go along to this casting for one with some friends of mine.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know what the film was, but I heard the film was called Children of Men, and I thought, oh no, it sounds like one of those kind of period drama films.
The Merchant Ivory kind of.
Most of the time.
Oh no. Right. Oh no, Carruthers.
Yeah. Oh no, chaps. To the Children of Men.
I'm terribly sorry.
Somebody should put the kettle on and play cricket.
I should probably go now.
Yes, I must leave. I am terribly sorry. But I must go on a boat or something. But yeah, I thought it was going to be one of them because they filmed loads of them in Canterbury because it's all like green and stuff.
Like well old.
But then, basically, I didn't go along to the casting because I thought there's no point because at this point I had mad dreadlocks that made me look like a pineapple.
Oh, you would have fit well in.
And you know what the scene was casting for?
The dreadlock scene.
The scene where the guys with the dreadlocks all run down the hill and start bashing on the car. And literally, when I realised that's what the scene was, they would have cast me in an instant. They would have gone,
you would have been the lead dreadlock.
There's a chance I might have done, because if you'd seen me there, I properly looked like a dystopian Neo nightmare.
Yeah.
It was a terrible look for me.
Now you're wearing a John Lewis scarf.
What changed?
I know, we're all wearing scarves.
Because it's freezing.
It's really
should
cold.
clarify that.
But anyway, that's
I'm wearing mine for fashion.
You've got that fashion knot going on.
Yeah, it's good.
Rubbish.
Dudester ass is Baseman, that's me, leaving. Just in case no one...
Baseman, apparently. Is that a self-given
That's the
nickname?
nickname that never took off.
Baseman.
It's the nickname that I was assigned when I first joined.
That you're leaving, Alice.
But he asked, am I leaving because there was a mat off and only one could survive?
Yeah, I mean, that's
be only one.
pretty much it.
It's Highlander around
It's
here.
like, in films, it's basically what's going to happen is you're going to get to Germany and you're going to turn up to where the job is, and it's just going to be an empty building with a post-it note on the door that says "sucker," and this whole thing has been just
See ya.
see ya. And it's just this whole thing has just been an elaborate setup to just get you out the picture, just because I cannot stand the fact that you share my name.
But then someone's going to have to kill me, right?
Yeah, no, you'll go, oh god, and you'll realise, but then by that
I'll
point
turn
it's too
around.
late. You'll turn around,
And there'll be
I'll
a man
be there
with a gun.
with a
It'll
gun.
be you.
Yeah.
Okay, it would have to be you.
Yeah, I booked some time off of holiday. It's the Easter weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
No one's going to expect
What's
that.
the new guy's name?
Chris.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's called Chris Bratz, and he'll be joining us next week.
Bratz.
He's got a YouTube channel called The Bratters, and he's done some good stuff, and he's going to be doing videos.
There's a debate about what we're going to actually call him, though. Well, you guys are going to call him.
I assume Chris.
I assume Chris, because he's allowed to call himself. There aren't any other Chris's, so...
But, his handle. He's already got a handle.
It's hard for me already not to refer to him as Bratters.
Yeah.
Because that's how we referred to him
The
internally.
Bratters Empire.
His code name internally for a while was Bratters.
Yeah, it's because his little online name.
Yeah,
But
so-
then people don't call me Jam Sponge.
No.
one calls me Catrick.
No, that's a shame.
Apart from a few subsect people. Anyway, PB Live. If you... I don't know why this is a weird question. If you were born a girl, what would you have wanted to be called?
Right.
Or to phrase it another way, what do you like to be called on weekends?
Sandra.
Sandra?
No, that's what I'm called on weekends. Well, I would have liked to have been called.
Yeah.
I think I was going to be called Rebecca if I was a girl.
Yeah.
'Cause parents mostly have a choice of names, right?
Yeah, I think...
I'm really glad not called Rebecca. It's a shit name.
The only female
Especially
name I
for a
can
man.
think of at the moment is Elizabeth, just because I don't know. But that's not what my parents would have called me. I don't know what they would have called me.
Although actually Samantha's a funny one, because for years my parents thought I had a girlfriend because I was spending a lot of time with someone called Sam, who was just my mate, Sam. But I was always going around and staying over at Sam's house because we were just basically playing video games.
Yeah.
Portal Thinker, rocket launchers, machine guns, pistols. They're the standard of nearly every FPS. What types of unique weapons do you think should be put into games? Can be real or imaginary?
It sounded like the start of a panorama documentary. Rocket launchers, pistols. But where does it end?
Yeah. We investigate. It kind of goes back to, like, video games could have anything. Infinite possibilities.
I'd like a gun
And we
that
have the
in
same guns pretty
online
much all the time.
FPSs deletes your Xbox Live account. Now, I'm not sure how logistically feasible that is.
Yeah.
Probably not very.
Yeah.
But imagine it. So it would be like, say, Golden Gun mode. It'd be like, right, you've got to get to the top and get this gun first. Otherwise, and it's only got like 3 shots, so you've got to choose your target.
Sure,
so this way, for the first time ever, you've got to turn on the chat so you can listen to all the horrible shit coming out of people's mouths. Oh, or a gun that when you shot it, it killed the other person in real life.
IRL.
Earl. My name is Earl.
My name is IRL.
It did that.
I've forgotten the
That'd be
gist of the
mental.
question. Was it why aren't there more exotic weapons?
And what kind of exotic weapons would you like?
Well, to be honest, I just think the whole shooters haven't been fun for ages. And, there was a big time, and it was N64 period where shooters.
Turok.
Turok,
Cerebral bore, isn't it?
Cerebral bore, and then you had Perfect Dark with its awesome weapons as well. And
Painkiller.
Right
The first
up to it,
Painkiller
yeah.
had some incredible weapons.
Was that the one that had, like, you could pin people?
You can
with that?
pin people.
Yeah,
That
was
had
good.
one that shot shurikens and lightning.
And Blood on PC, if anyone
Yeah.
remembers that. Had the
Yes.
pitchfork,
Pitchfork,
the flare gun.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm gonna-
precisely.
I'm gonna play Blood now.
Hexen had some pretty weird stuff as well, didn't it?
Yeah,
It's
Heretic
like the
and
magic,
Hexen.
magic.
Yeah, magic, but it had like
Having
this-
said that, Bulletstorm had some of the best guns ever.
Bulletstorm
and none
did
of
as
you
well.
fucking bought it.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
That's the answer to the question is, well, there could be any guns,
Yeah.
but you won't buy it if it hasn't got like an
Yeah.
M4 on it.
That's the problem.
So-
It's just a case of the fact that fun FPS has died a while ago. Time Splitters was one of the classics that just no one was buying it, and so no one's willing to fund Time Splitters anymore. And Bulletstorm I think was the last. That was like, hey, we're bringing it back, we're reviving it, and then they did it.
Can fly, isn't it?
And it's funny actually. It's a shame because with Bulletstorm, it's not even a simple case of going, "This is an awesome game. You should have bought it." Because I found that whenever I've written things about Bulletstorm or talked about Bulletstorm and said it's awesome, you always get people commenting saying, "Oh, that game is rubbish." Yeah. It's like, what's wrong with your head? They're like, there's nothing rubbish about this game. It's pure, like,
it's dumb fun.
Dictates.
It's Brillo. I mean, actually, the one thing I don't like about it is the swearing. I think it doesn't fit the tone of the game. Yeah. Other than that, fantastic.
There's actually a decent character arc as well.
Yeah,
the main character.
That's it. The story actually really good.
Yeah. I didn't like his hair.
I didn't like his hair, but
precisely that. It was a game that had its marketing department sort of putting one finger up it and ruining.
But why
things.
don't just one last thing? Hit right. All video game marketers and publishers. Yeah. Like, here's how you fix this. You just make fake marketing campaigns. Yeah. So every game looks like a Call of Duty first-person shooter. And then you put the other game in the box. Is that so hard to do?
Yeah, I don't see why they can't do that.
That's basically
what they do with most things,
old
right?
games, because the covers for old
yes,
exactly.
Were nothing like the game.
Like Mercs. It's like 3 steroidal guys killing everything, and you get it. It's like 2 tiny sprites going pew pew.
Yeah, Fallout 2. I remember that. I bought that because it had this awesome power armor dude on the front. The actual game is mostly just about running around in your pants and then getting killed by Mad Max.
Brilliant. There you go, boys. Get back to that.
Yeah, Mr. Revelation. This is a question about Total War. I've not played Total War games, but I believe someone here has. He's recently purchased Empire Total War and is thoroughly enjoying experience with it, as it's completely different from what he normally plays. Do you guys have any fond memories of the Total War franchise, and are you looking forward to Total War Rome 2? Steve says no.
Because I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because I worked on Total War.
Did you?
I tested it. And so I'm pretty good at Empire Total War.
This is why you don't like games, Steve.
This is why you hate all video games.
I've seen the other side.
Yeah.
But no, Empire Total War is a favourite of mine.
I've had Shogun 2 on my list for a while, and I really need to do that because I've heard
it's like a super elite edition out there as well.
It's in our office.
See, I played the first Shogun, and I didn't get on with it. Like, I'm not a huge RTS sort of dude. But maybe I'm thinking
I found the combat
a
bit strange. I think the first one I tried to play was the Napoleonic era one,
and
I just couldn't get on with it. Just because the way that the fighting has to work, it's just odd. It's very realistic, and I like just sending men over there.
Yeah. People love Total War, right? Should I get into it? Because I've never...
Yeah, get into it. It's really good.
I think the military tactics are really... If you're into... the people I know who love it are all like quite history buffy. Okay. And if you like your history, it's amazing. Because my housemate
bringing people in from the trees...
Yeah.
To come out from the trees and go, I'm going to get you because I've been hiding in the trees.
Right.
And then I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can skip all that. That's what I do.
I mostly played it on LAN at uni with some friends. I was very bad at all those games. I used to just think I was doing something clever, and then it didn't work.
Right.
Yeah, because I found the same thing when I was playing Mount and Blade, because that's got a degree of kind of like military tactics, and I was just rubbish at that because I just don't understand. All I know about medieval warfare tactics is if you want to fight down on a staircase, on the spiral staircases, because they can't swing their sword. Yeah. And I learned that in Dark Souls as well, so
this is
just play Dark Souls.
That's
the answer to that question.
Last question from Niall Pudding. If you discovered that your favourite games developer or individual that is involved in the games industry murdered countless innocent individuals brutally, in brackets, out of their own free will, would you still play their games?
Wow, I suppose that's coming back to what I was saying with SimCity, really.
There we go.
I mean, I think there's a bit of a difference between supporting
a mass murderer,
mass murderers, and supporting infrastructures that you don't like, or that don't work very well.
I'd do it because because their work isn't,
the work's still the same.
Yeah, that's why people still love Michael Jackson.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like outside art,
but that's still
Michael Jackson was acquitted,
not guilty.
Let's just say that he was found, or he's acquitted, I believe, and found not guilty of all the terrible things he definitely didn't do.
Michael Jackson was found dead, and that's basically,
and that's why I don't like his music anymore, because he's dead.
But imagine if turned out Ken Levine had murdered.
What are we saying here? This is just it's not a truth.
No, this is imagine in this hypothetically,
a big joke.
If Ken Levine had murdered 50 people brutally.
Yeah, but what T-shirt was he wearing when he did it? Those are the important questions now, aren't they?
No, but he was holding. He did have Catcher in the Rye with him.
Oh, and I
the most overrated book ever.
Well, I think I'd still play BioShock.
There we go.
All those other people that made it,
I think that's the important thing to remember is that games are made by shitloads of people.
Okay.
And that's why I find it a bit annoying when people are like, well, I don't like the publisher of this game, so I'm not buying their game. And it's like, well, what about like the 500 people who've just spent 3 years making
What
the game?
if Notch... I'm just trying to think of games that was made by one person.
But the man who made New Star Soccer...
Oh yeah,
he's by himself, isn't he?
Yeah. What if
he didn't? He's fine though. Nothing
yeah, but
wrong
what
with him.
what if he had murdered? Like,
I do like New Star Soccer.
Yeah, it's very good.
Well, if you said that Notch was a murderer, right,
Yeah.
I'd still be like, yeah, but actually the cultural benefits of Minecraft are so strong that actually the actions of one man probably don't outweigh them. And
so you'd still play Minecraft?
That's the world we live in, unfortunately.
It's
if you end up doing more good stuff than bad stuff, and the bad stuff you do kind of gets forgotten.
Murder's pretty bad.
That's history.
Lance Armstrong.
Yeah,
it's this all over again.
Yeah, it's a big debate.
They're good at cycling, but drugs.
Lance Armstrong is a pariah now, but in years to come, when doping and cybernetic limbs are allowed, he'll be seen as, the visionary.
Revolutionary.
I was talking more about the money he raised for charity.
Yeah, that's more
his
of a big
legacy.
thing. That's true. He raised a lot of money,
and he inspired a lot of people.
Yeah,
and he is a lying, cheating bastard.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of people are probably feeling a bit, and now they feel, hey, maybe not necessarily because their idol was a fucking scumbag, but
yeah, but a lot of the time people's idols turn out to be scumbags. But if
most
you've
of them
taken
are.
something positive from it, then that's a good thing. So let's not get bogged down with murder.
Kill people,
just kill
but
people.
make good stuff.
Just kill people, but make sure you earn loads of money for charity as well.
Gaza was my idol.
Gaza was my idol when he took that Raoul Moat chicken and lager.
Though. He
that
was in a
really
bad
nice
place.
gesture. He was in a bad place, but it was
Very
really
bad
funny.
place.
I love the fact that if you're not familiar with this, just Google it, the Gaza chicken fishing rod incident. But what I love about it is he turned up to the scene of a man who was on a killing spree. If you're American, you probably haven't heard about this. He's a football player who, in his latter years, he turned up with fried chicken, lager, and a fishing rod, saying, "Oh, I'm here to see Moti," because the killer was called Raoul Moat. I'm here to see my mate Moti. He's all right. When the police had pretty much cordoned off the area and were like, "No, you can't be here. You can't go in there." But what I loved about that was when they called up Gaza's PR to get an official comment. His official comment was on holiday at the time, and the official comment, because he clearly was so shocked he forgot to say, "Don't quote me on that," was, "He's done what?" So that was what was getting quoted in all of the newspapers. His PR commented, "He's done what?" Which I just thought was wonderful. I mean, obviously, yeah, deeply sad as well, but more wonderful. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions as well on Twitter. People have said the TV staff saying the news saying TV time of playing computer games does not breed badly behaved children. My agreement for that is yes, because I was actually incredibly well behaved to the point of being incredibly boring for most of my life, and I spent the whole of it watching TV and playing video games. Anyone? That's just the answer, right?
I'm really boring now.
Yeah,
and I just played games all my life.
Yeah, pretty much.
I watch violent films as well.
Yeah.
I do.
It's the drugs that make me violent, not the games or the films or the TV.
Exactly.
So.
It's just my lust for violence, frankly. Paul Taylor asks, would you pay for a microtransaction that skips a QTE?
I pay for a microtransaction that punches the developer of the...
imagine a little electric shock every time you have to do that QTE.
What was that?
I'm like, developer today found dead. 10 million. Good. Yeah, I probably would, but I'd hate that.
Some QTEs are good, though.
Have we just written the next episode of Black Mirror?
Yes. Yeah, take that.
That's for when Charlie Brooker really runs out of ideas, i.e. next episode. That's a zing, ladies and gents. That's a zing. DJ Apple says, what's a podcast?
It's like...
Don't ask me, man.
It's like the radio, but...
Not live.
But better as well. Because on the radio, you can't laugh about people being killed.
You can't.
On some channels, but...
Yeah.
And Dazza Davey says, is it BF4 or BF 3.5? We've pretty much covered that. It's sort of a 3.75, I guess.
3.9.
But he also says, how do you guys like your eggs? I like them sunny side up at the moment, but I'm also partial to poached.
Easy over.
Poached eggs are good.
Mm-hmm.
However...
I don't really like...
However...
Well, scrambled eggs good. Over easy is good.
But right now, I've got some eggs. I'm
Poached
going to cook them for you. How do you want them?
Oh, now I want scrambled. But I know that makes me sound like a 5-year-old. But I will have my scrambled eggs!
So scrambled.
Do you want dippy soldiers?
Yes. I don't like runny yolk.
What? No. Who doesn't like those?
Sorry.
Dippy soldiers.
Dippy soldiers.
Yeah, now everyone's going to be like, where, and run off and make their own dippy soldiers.
And with those ghosties has asked, what country will VG plan to take over next? Well, I personally plan to invade Sweden with dippy soldiers. And
for those who don't know, we've VideoGamer Portugal launched.
Yes.
With possibly my favourite press release ever.
Yeah, that was very funny.
Equal parts fact, equal parts humour.
Was that my news story?
Yeah.
And a picture of Ronaldo.
I loved it.
Did you translate my quote?
I didn't know.
If you have, there's a little joke in there.
Oh, there's more jokes.
Yes.
Oh, hidden jokes.
There's so many layers to that story. Wow. You'll be looking back on that when we launch other properties and be like, he referenced that then?
Oh, so are you saying there are more to come, Mr. Rory?
I made that up. I didn't reference anything in the future.
You've got to watch out on these things.
Watch out. You get caught out by journalists. We're going to get quoted
by
your own voice.
It's all a joke.
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to be misogynistic.
So what's the next country on the list, Tom?
Loads of them.
All of them.
There we are, all of them taking over the world. And finally, we will announce a winner next week for our MS Paint Draw as a competition. But the entries we've had so far are awesome.
Amazing.
And actually, we made a little video. So it's worth looking at that. Actually, it's on the main site. It's on YouTube, and it's also in the forum thread with the entries. You've got a week to enter, and we've actually got some extra prizes. So
that's right. So in addition to the member of the month winning a game of their choice, there'll be 3 other winners. Who will win a collector's edition of Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah, they're really pretty looking boxes, and you get lots of bits and bobs in. And Heart of the Swarm is, I think, an awesome PC game. So do enter, and it means we've got 4 prizes to give away. And the good thing about this competition is you don't really need any ability because it's drawing something rubbish in MS Paint.
They've all proved mostly.
Yes, pretty much they've all proved.
The worse the better, I say.
Yeah. Absolutely, I think there's been some cracking.
Bumbling was
terrifyingly bad.
Henning Zerg, was that one?
Henning Zerg,
as a Man United fan, that is my favourite.
So get on MS Paint, get on the forums, and let us see your monster, so to speak. Anyway, that's us out for the week.
Just check the site tomorrow, Thursday, for a megaton.
Megaton.
Yeah, megaton. I'm calling it a megaton.
Oh, there is a megaton.
We've got
megaton. Huge.
I'm not going to say anything else.
Yeah. Exclusive as well.
It's not about a game.
It's not about a game. We've got Megaton news happening tomorrow on VideoGamer.com. This is the Video Gamer UK podcast. My name's Matt Lees, and I've been joined by Matt Nellis.
Last
time in a while. Steve Burns.
See ya.
And Tom Ari.
Goodbye.
And keep on cooking eggs.
Yes.
Bye.